Welcome to Licensed Poetics, a podcast about books and art. I'm your host, Fang Ling. And today, here in the studio, we have the interim host, Derek.
Hello.
He is eating a Mentos very noisily right now. Oh,
Welcome back to Sucking the Toss.
I'll leave that in.
Sure.
Thanks for nothing, Derek. Okay, and very excitingly, this is our first ever film collaboration episode. We have two up-and-coming filmmakers here to promote their film, Looking for Haberfield. Welcome to Licensed Poetics, Izzie and Max.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Yay, woo!
So
Okay,
professional.
let's introduce Izzie and Max to our audience. Izzie is a multidisciplinary artist specializing in film, marketing, and writing. She graduated from UTS in 2022 with a BA in Communications, Media Arts, and Production. Her university short film, Dyed in the Wool, marked her directorial debut. Soon after, Izzie directed and co-produced a social justice docudrama, She's Not Alone, in collaboration with tech startup She's a Crowd and Monash University's Faculty in Automated Decision Making. Currently, she is honing her passion for producing and script writing through the indie production company Don't Talk Productions, which she recently co-founded with her uni peer Max Pinniger.
Okay.
Someone didn't stick to the 100 words or less by.
I think I did.
Oh, did
It's
you?
I
like
asked
actually
ChatGPT to
Just under
count.
100 words.
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Oh, we don't talk about ChatGPT.
We don't talk about ChatGPT.
And Max's bio is when I find it, which is, where did you send it to?
Your email.
Would you just like to do
Your
a first
email.
impression bio of what vibe you get from me?
That's why he's the interim host, guys.
Tall, nice.
Handsome.
I was gonna say.
Aw.
yeah.
Good. Funny. and
Rakishly good looks.
smart. Perfect.
Max is a dedicated freelance filmmaker, cinematographer, and producer. After graduating from UTS with a bachelor's in communications, media, art, and production, Max began working for Australian television for production companies such as Endemol Shine, ITV, Binge, and Nine Network.
Yeah, this is actually not the first time that we've had filmmakers on Licensed Poetics. This is the first time for an episode to specifically promote one film, though. So previously, we've interviewed filmmakers before, Vuong, and also Anya, well, she's a script writer, and Emily, who very excitingly worked on today's film, Looking for Haberfield.
We love Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Big
we'll
ups.
be talking about the film and Izzie and Max's process behind it more in the second section after our reading update. Okay, so let's get started. What reading updates do you have today, Derek?
I was reading your copy of White Nights, Dostoevsky, and
I can tell by your facial
I both-
expression.
I both
it's not a positive review.
I both enjoy it and am annoyed by it, but yeah, I don't know. It's a story about like dreamers and losers, which I like, but it's also got really annoying dialogue. So
Yeah, I think that's been said about Dostoevsky's writing a lot. I mean, his language is very 19th century Russian, right?
yeah, but surely even for his day, it was douchey. Like I'm almost certain of that. But all the characters and the writing is good otherwise, so it's like kind of enjoyable. I also started reading Cleopatra and Frankenstein.
Oh my god.
I basically just bought it because the cover's very pretty.
I think I've seen that cover. It's like pastel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty. It's like white, blue, and like it's got a lady like
Mm.
lying sadly.
Wait, Cleopatra and Frankenstein. Is it a sci-fi book?
No,
What kind of...
it's basically like a romance between like a 20-year-old girl and like a 50-year-old like executive of a company or something.
Okay, so she's Cleopatra and he's Frankenstein.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. And it just starts off with her being very pompous. You know, the sort of witty banter that's not actually witty? It's like,
Well, she thinks she's being witty.
I was going to say, have you seen Gilmore Girls? But you won't
But I
have seen
haven't.
Gilmore
Amazing.
Girls. Yeah. Yeah, where like no real person has ever spoken like that at all.
Okay.
That's what it's like. It's just very like rom-com, I
Okay.
think.
So
Are
are you
you-
enjoying the book?
A bit endearing though.
Yeah, but endearing,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like likable.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm like I said, I'm like 20 pages in.
Mm.
I'm up to the meet cute bit where she's like,
Ah.
I'm too like cool for this party, and then the guy like meets her in the elevator and is like, I'm not pretty enough for this party, and then they leave. It's fine. It's fine. It's not.
Wait, so how is she like Cleopatra? Do you know yet?
She's pretty and she's young.
Okay, so how is he like Frankenstein?
He's ugly.
A monster?
Yeah. He's not even ugly. I think he's just older.
Wow. Okay.
Look, I have no idea how. Look, like I said, I'm like 20 pages.
20 pages in,
I
okay.
really don't know where it's going.
20-page reviews.
Yeah,
They're the
20-page
most
reviews.
reliable kind of review. Okay. I think the author of Cleopatra and Frankenstein,
Coco Mellors or something, right?
came out with a new book called Blue Sisters, I think. I think I've seen it in bookshops because it's got that similar, really distinctive cover design.
Yeah.
The color palette.
Well, whatever
Yeah.
the publishers are doing, it's like
Yeah,
working,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, okay. I guess for my reading update, this is related to LP Law, Derek. Because in our last episode, you were like, oh, do you remember James Joyce's Araby?
I did.
Yeah.
As a
And-
highly classy and intelligent individual. I did say that.
Yeah, but basically I went home and I realized I actually have a copy of Dubliners, which is James Joyce's short story collection. And Araby was in it. And I read it. And I like loved it so much. I was so pleasantly surprised because I thought it would be, I don't know why I thought that, but I thought it would be like kind of dry and boring. But it's actually a really, really short and really moving story about just a young boy having a crush on like an older girl in his neighborhood. And then he wants to go to this Eastern style market, like an Arab market, to buy her something. And that's it. That's the setup of the story. And it's got some like really beautiful moments in it, like moments of innocent love and innocent crush. Like I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's very Salinger, right? So there you go.
Yeah, that's like, okay, you're saying I love it because it's similar to Salinger and I love Salinger.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but I think you're right.
I love Salinger.
See, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my novel is very much inspired by The Catcher in the Rye.
Really,
Yeah.
you know, that's so funny because when I studied it in year 8 or 9, I remember a girl, like, she was like really popular or whatever, and she like grabbed the book and like threw it on the table and was like, no one feels this way. And I was like in the corner, like, oh no.
And you're like,
where did
I
the
feel
ducks
this
go?
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I read it in high school, I probably wouldn't have liked it or wouldn't have got it. But I read it as an adult. And
As you got
loved it.
lonelier as an adult, like
Yeah.
it really hits better.
Probably. Yeah,
I'm embarrassed that I've
honestly.
resonated for many a year.
No, I'm really happy for you. I think it's great
Thank you.
to like it in high school.
I was given a copy of that by a real avid bookworm, and I never read it. I held on to it. It was their like favorite copy, and they said you have to read this book. Just promise me you're going to go home and read this book. And I never turned the pages. Just coincidentally, like a couple months before, I'd really gotten into the Beatles. So I think it was sort of like a protest. I'm not going to read this book now, which was just stupid.
Well, I
But-
mean, you have the copy, so you
Well,
can...
I did have the
Oh,
copy.
you
I
did,
felt
okay.
so, I had it for like 3 years. I felt so bad that I just like put it in the back of my shelf, my to-do read shelf, and I was like, I'm so sorry. So like when I saw her for like the how many at the time, 3 years later, I was like, I'm bringing your book back. I'm so sorry, I haven't read it. 15-year-old me's logic was, yeah, John Lennon died because someone read this book, and I really like John Lennon at the moment, so I'm not going to read it. Well, that, and I was so against English and literature and everything at that time, which isn't the case now. But
Glad to know as a
high school,
filmmaker. I
yeah.
don't think you can...
Absolutely, high school ruined it. But
I see. Yeah, high school ruins a lot of things for a lot of people, I found.
definitely.
Yeah. Speaking of, my to-be-read shelf is like my entire shelf. My
Really?
entire book collection is my to-be-read books.
Me too.
Great.
The never-ending stack
Yeah,
that just
I
gets
know.
bigger.
Are you a rereader of books, or are you a once and done?
Usually once and done, but recently I've been rereading some of my favorites as like research for the novel that I'm trying to write.
Oh, fantastic.
It's been really good, like rereading favorites. It's good. I really want to reread The Picture of Dorian Gray.
That's one of the few books I've reread.
Yeah?
I
I
really
really
like
liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
really
really
like
want
it
to
as
reread
well.
it.
It's about
Reread
some
it.
guy being like obsessed with himself.
Yeah, yeah.
You just like narcissistic guys, basically.
Stop making observations about
Secretly
me.
misogynist.
Go away. Okay. But yeah, there was this one line in Araby that I thought was beautiful where the boy says, oh, her name, like the name of the girl that he has a crush on, her name was a summon to all of my foolish blood. I was like, oh, I just thought that was really sweet.
That's a very sweet way to just be like, I'm so horny. Like that's basically it.
Well, he's a kid. It's a little bit more innocent, I think.
Sure it is.
Derek.
Yeah. But anyway, the other book that I really wanted to mention is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Derek is closing his eyes, and that's why I want to talk about it, because Derek cannot stand Ocean Vuong.
Why is that?
I just fucking, I don't know.
No, it's fine. Like we all have our opinions.
Do you guys know him personally at all?
No.
Not personally.
Great.
No, not at all.
Good. I just don't want to be like.
He's like this young Vietnamese American author, and this novel On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous is basically an autobiographical novel, and it's about this young Vietnamese American guy writing a long letter to his illiterate mother, and his mother is half Vietnamese and half American because his grandmother was working as a prostitute in war-torn Vietnam, and then she had a baby with a white American soldier. So the author, Ocean Vuong, and the narrator of this book are both literal products of the war. But I've also seen criticism of people saying there's not enough narrative force pushing the story forward. Like it's just a collection of moments. There's nothing like a story pushing it forward. And I can already see that even in the first third of the book. But I think it doesn't annoy me so much that I want to drop it. I think I'm going to manage to keep reading and probably finish this book.
Sounds quite similar to the book that I've been reading. That's on my bedside table at the moment.
Oh yeah? Tell us about it.
It's Adam Kay's This Is Going to Hurt.
Wait, Adam Kay, like the film director?
Yeah, but he wrote the book.
Oh.
Hang on. Oh, wait, sorry, no.
No, Adam McKay. I think is the
Adam
film-
McKay, yeah.
Is the film director.
Goodness, hang on. I brought it up on my phone literally 2 seconds ago. It is, British comedy writer Adam Kay. No, not Adam Kay is the writer, but it was also became a series in the UK, a TV series. This Is Going to Hurt.
Okay.
And it's a sort of like a dramatized reconstruction of the writer's memoirs and journal entries and diary entries as his time as in working in the NHS as a pediatrics doctor. No, what's the one that gives birth? Is delivering babies in the NHS, and he was just talking about how it basically through his diary entries, each chapter is an entry, and it's no more than maybe maximum 2 or 3 pages, but he somehow managed to string a story between it all. So you get the arc between like him and his girlfriend at the time falling out, how he progresses through the ranks, how like interjected between
ranks
chapters.
of the hospital.
Yeah. Interjected between like interesting stories or like patients, and you learn a lot about. It's basically like a peek behind the curtain of how doctors actually are, and
interesting
why the hospital and the particularly emergency or the public system is extremely slow. He published a book as a frustration of the NHS and why he left.
Well, the NHS is just in shambles, like
famously, right?
Famously. And I was talking to somebody actually who works as a journalist. He moved from England, and he was telling us that they like to book in a GP appointment, it will take you like 2 weeks. Just like for a regular GP appointment. So when he came to Australia, he was really shocked.
You just like walk in.
But they also refuse to pay for healthcare there. Like it's kind of like more of a like zeitgeist. Like you know how there's like
you mean the patients refuse to pay?
Yeah. Like I think it's, and also like the gross like socioeconomic divide in like England. But I think it's a different culture there. Like
it's just assumed that the NHS is going to fix you.
Well, private healthcare is. Yeah, like not really as much of an option.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, like the way that you described that novel made it sound like it's like, that's almost like a TV show, right? It's like episodic stuff.
Well,
and then in between it, you've got this like season arc or whatever for like the...
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but like if it was the case, it would be like hundreds of episodes. I would say there's like 100 chapters.
That's awesome.
Or 100 bits. But it translates really well to TV. I haven't seen the TV series yet.
But why is it taking you so long to read it?
I am just chronically
accusatory.
No, fair enough. This is a writer's podcast. That is fair.
I think some books warrant like a long time to read.
it's definitely one you can pick up and put down.
Okay.
Because because of the kind of like way it's structured.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes when you're reading a good book and you're getting tired, and you're like, I'll just read to the end of the chapter, sort of thing. It's quite easy. It ties off. Every chapter ties off, so it's almost very much like
Episodic,
you can just put it down and pick it up in that way. It doesn't. It's not begging for your attention, much like other maybe books can be with chapters.
Yeah. Right. Definitely.
But if you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. It's a true story, and it's his true experiences. They're dramatized and written very well from the perspective of a well-versed comedian with a lived experience.
That's awesome. A doctor and a comedian.
Is it funny?
Yeah. Oh, very funny.
That's that. I was going to be like, that was the next.
Yeah. It's funny and like just witty, smart.
Yeah, nice.
But very, very consumable.
Yeah.
That's the.
Humor is great.
Mm-hmm.
She said flatly.
Yeah. I don't actually feel humor. I just use it because it's effective. Like it's just another tool in my toolbox. like I don't feel emotions as a writer. I just pretend I have emotions.
Yeah.
Very British of you. Very British.
They're in there somewhere, just deep down.
Izzie, do you have a reading update to share?
I just want to share my favorite author at the Mo. Actually, he only has a couple books, but Douglas Stuart. He's done a couple of books. They're like super melancholic and depressing. But my favorite one was it's called Young Mungo, and I believe it's set. Oh my god, I'm going to butcher this, but I think it's set in around like 80s Glasgow, in kind of like just like super poor, like big divide between like Protestants and Catholics, and it just kind of goes into just like tenement living, and it is kind of trauma porn, to be honest with you. Which I'm like,
I remember Young Mungo. I think you mentioned it to me.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like probably the only book that I read by that stage. I'm reading a couple. I also read Lessons in Chemistry, which I thought I actually wasn't a huge fan of. Did you read it?
Is it a romance?
Lessons in Chemistry?
Yeah.
No. They did like an Amazon original, I think, about it, or like something like that. But it was a story about this. Oh my god, I've
seen it in every bookshop.
Yeah, it's about this
Lessons in Chemistry.
chemist, and she's not taken seriously because she works in the 50s, and it's just kind of about like patriarchy, and it had a good premise, and then she kind of becomes like the host of a cooking show, but it's like through the guise of chemistry, like everything is and then she inspires women to kind of like believe in themselves
and start cooking shows
and
Be a chemist.
both.
to
Why
just
didn't
have a
you?
testy pop?
Why didn't you like it?
I didn't like it because I felt like there was kind of like this like caricature, like they made her like, I suppose, like atypical in the sense that like she wasn't like hyper feminine, but then I just found that there was just like, it didn't feel like we saw her be like vulnerable or raw at all, because I think like at the point to like make her like a marker of this kind of like stoic, like very like diligent, driven
was
person.
it Mary suing a little bit? Like,
I don't know what that is.
it's like, I think
A perfect woman.
like
Mary Sue, right?
yeah, Mary Sue's like, I don't know how to describe Mary Sue without just seeming like I hate
No,
women.
but I feel like you've just described the caricature like a strong woman caricature, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But I think there was like just no, like she was probably
No
like
substance.
while she had her imperfections for sure, I believe that there was just no emotional kind of like edge whatsoever. It was just, it felt flat. It felt like the protagonist was the least kind of developed character in terms of breadth,
I see.
you know?
What made you want to pick up this book?
My mom. Yeah.
Did she like it?
Yeah. And you know what? It was a page turner. So like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Sometimes that can be satisfying as well, like reading a book just because it's a page turner. I like that.
I kind of think you don't even need like you don't always need the protagonist to be like this like really
interesting.
empathetic character. Like you can just sometimes they're just a force
Oh my
that
God,
drives
that's so
the
true.
story forward, and you just like, oh, okay, well, they serve this function, and you just kind of
Yeah.
go with it. Yeah, as long as they advance the plot, I guess. Like,
You see that in is it Vince Gilligan or Vince Gilligan who did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul in their shows? You see that with the main characters. They're not someone that you can particularly empathize with, or that like you agree with, or that aren't particularly relatable.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of people rewatch Breaking Bad and they think that the main character Walter White is actually horrible, and and he is. But he's that driving force that just pushes the
show forward. It's like the same as like that Cormac McCarthy book that I've been reading.
Blood Meridian.
Yeah, Blood Meridian. It's like just about the worst. I think I've talked about this so many times because I've been reading it for so long. But it's just like the worst guy ever. Like he's this gross. Like he's like a child. Like it's just all of the horrible trigger warning stuff that he does throughout the whole book. But he's kind of like the Joker a little bit, like just like a force of nature, and you just kind of observe him like.
And he's the main
ruin
character.
Everything. Oh, he's like the main character the same way that like Gatsby is the main character. Like there's a Nick Carraway and
there's
then
an
there's
observer.
Like yeah. So yeah.
That's so interesting because I've been trying to design characters for my novel, right? And it's the hardest thing I've ever done because I have no idea what I'm doing.
You know what I love about Phoebe Waller-Bridge's approach when she like no, this is
awfully bad.
Yeah, but what she delves into character work first, so like before plot, before like major moments.
Yeah, Derek is really into that.
Really?
Like Derek thinks characters should come first.
Yeah, characters come first, and then she was saying like she like vision boards it all, and they're very like decadent, and she kind of fleshes them out, and then she was just like the story just makes itself.
No, I completely agree. That's why I'm putting a lot of thought into my characters as well. I think that came first for me, but I think now I'm at that point where I need to have a plot.
Yeah,
I was just showing Derek earlier. I have a doc with like 4 plots. 4 skeletons that I've written out.
Yeah.
Like completely shitty plots, but because I have nowhere to start. Like this is a great opportunity to plug my Buy Me a Coffee.
Oh yeah, do that.
If you'd like to support Licensed Poetics, please head to buymeacoffee.com/licensedpoetics. I release exclusive content on there, including a monthly poetry review column written by me. And also in the future, a monthly anti-poetry column written by Derek. Okay, let's do a summary of Looking for Haberfield.
Oh, for us. Yes.
Should we do it, or should Derek
Why
and I do
would
it
we
as
get
an
the
audience
makers of
first?
the film to
Okay,
come on a podcast so that
we can
could
summarize
give
it for them?
their own?
Well,
I want Derek to do a cynical synopsis.
Yeah.
I think make a synopsis first, and then Derek's version.
So, sorry, I'll just start because it was very much a collaborative effort, but I wrote the script, and the film is kind of like an intergenerational Italian-Australian short film that pays homage to Looking for Alibrandi, which, Australian film, shot in Sydney, very brilliant, amazing, based off the book. And yeah, it kind of like pays homage to Looking for Alibrandi and like similar themes. Like it kind of goes through like the gripes of like early adulthood, like love / situationships, modern dating, and kind of like a disconnect from culture, I guess. Yeah.
It's a short film. It's about 12 minutes long.
13 with credits. I don't know where. I actually don't
I have no idea.
That should be the tagline. 13 with credits.
Yeah.
12 minutes long.
But I feel like the credits are part of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
They are, right?
The forgotten bookend of the film. Yeah.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, we watched
to
the whole
end.
thing. Is it not like...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so Izzie, you're the screenwriter
Screenwriter.
and lead actress, obviously.
Yes, and co-executive producer, Max Pinniger and Emma Pittman. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you the director as well? Were you guys the...
We brought on 2 fantastic co-directors. India Grossmayer, please excuse me if I'm butchering her last name. Grossmayer. I've seen it written down so many times and I've just got it stuck in my head one way. And Theo Carroll. They came in absolutely clutch and helped bring Izzie's vision to life between them. Really,
Yes.
really well done on their behalf.
Very grateful.
Yeah, I'm really interested to learn about the production side of things as well. You said came in clutch. I'm so interested to hear all of the stories and then the...
Well, Theo has a background in theatre. He's got a background in teaching. He works at a school as the theatre production manager. So he's got a very good understanding of getting people out of their comfort zone in front of a camera. And this was Izzie's first time, correct me if I'm wrong, is your first time in front of the camera of something that you've made.
Yeah, because I guess we can speak kind of the how it all came about, I guess. Like, because basically, like, so basically what happened is, like, Max and I were in Melbourne at similar times. He was working for Nine and I was absconding from Sydney, just like running around. And basically I came to Max and I was kind of like, hey, like, I think I have this like project that like I want to start working on. And Max was like, hell yeah, like stoked, like show me what you got. And I had like literally like a page and a half of like some like really shoddy draft. And then I started just being like, you know what, I'm just going to start like throwing out to Facebook pages. And I threw out, and then like this brilliant DOP who we had, Stephanie Jewell, who I'd worked on this film called The Choice to Love by Anna Dorak with, kind of got back to me and was like, hey, like I'll come in, I can bring my like lighting team, I can bring the camera team, but like we need to shoot this in 3 weeks time. And I was like, okay. So we have like a page and a half of a script, like nothing.
And 3 weeks of time to make it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why I ended up having to act in it. And yeah, you're right, Max. Like first time ever in front of a camera. Frightening.
I was at first actually a bit apprehensive when you said I want to star in it, because we had some people. No one were actually that good. There were some good people, but no one who I think could play Sophia as well as you actually did in the end, and no one Italian as well. This is an Italian Australian film, so they have to at least be Italian. And Izzie was like, Max, I really want to do it, and I was like, well, okay. I support this. This is you've written this. This is your experience. You haven't acted before. How do you feel about doing this? Like, have you really thought about this? And she said, yeah, we're going to get Theo on board, and Theo is like I said before, a fantastic coach. And
do you know them from school?
We know Theo through uni friends. Theo we just joined his circle, and he joined ours.
Yeah.
You guys were uni friends too, right?
Yeah,
that's how we met. We met at uni day one. What day
class one?
What was our first film class called?
Exploring Media Arts
with Imran Ferdis, and we met, and then both. I think we went out for a beer after with a few other people, and we just started talking about how good uni is, and eventually as the weeks went on, how bad uni is.
Yeah,
and we've just been hanging out and doing creative things since.
We funded the UTS Underground Bar, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Won all of the Furphy merch.
Yeah, the reason why Loft Comedy stayed on was us. We just put so much behind the bar.
100%.
That was it. And their pizzas. We kept their pizza oven alive.
Yeah. So, some more questions about the film. Oh, wait. Do you want to do a cynical?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, okay,
cynical synopsis.
Let's go through the specific details about the film. So one thing that Derek and I both noticed is that the color palette is really beautiful of the whole film. So how much of that was, I guess, your decision, or was it someone that you hired?
That is our brilliant production designer, Isabel Bianca-Verret, who we met through mutuals.
Yeah, through family, friends, through my housemates. And she was a art student at Sydney Uni.
Yeah, Sydney College of Arts. She's done her honours as well.
Yes.
Her whole vision is insane. I think she's also, what do you call it? She has synesthesia.
Wait, she sees colours and sounds.
Yeah. So that palette was totally, that was all of it we owe to her. Like she decked that whole thing out, and also our art team. Yeah. Because we only had 3 weeks to turn it around, right? Like we were so crewed up. Like how do you think we had like?
I think day 2 we had about 50 people on set.
Yeah, with extras. Yeah, for that Italian lunch scene
on a micro budget.
Yeah. It must have been overwhelming. It was in your house, right? Filmed in your house.
Well, to be honest with you, poor Max, like running around looking so stressed, alongside like all of the other brilliant crew members, but. I must say, and I'm so sorry to all the actors out there, but like, it was the cushiest thing ever. Like sitting there, and Max was purposely, I think, like don't do any like production roles. And I was like, no worries. So I was just like getting like pampered, you know what I mean? Like sitting back with the like makeup artist. Like,
This is the dinner party scene, right?
the whole shoot. Like I
okay.
just was very
as an actress.
as an actress. Yeah. So this is my first time and I loved it. I was kind of like swanning in and being like, this looks good, guys. Like
she'd done 3 weeks of such heavy pre-prod. Like her attention to detail in producing is above none. It's that ADHD kick in the balls when you get the fire when you feel the fire up your ass, and she goes into beast mode, and she did beast mode for those 3 weeks. Like that.
So you deserve the pampering.
Diamonds are made under pressure. She was De Beers. You know, she was the whole company.
To be honest, though, I owe everything to Max. Like, I couldn't even be alone writing that script because I was so stressed. So he would sit on call for me for hours, and like I'd just be screen sharing with him on Celtex, like the free script writing software. And he'd be like, "You can do the next line." I'd be like, "Thank you, Max." Like he was just there, like cheering me on.
So when it came time to shoot, you very much deserved that holiday and
Thank you.
being in your element.
I love how shooting was the holiday.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, for her, yes.
Yeah.
You're like,
No, not at all.
did you ever go back and you're like, I think writing was the wrong choice?
Yeah, definitely. After that, I was like, I should do more acting. No, never again though.
But yeah, what was the screenwriting software that you used?
Celtex, CELTX.
I was trying to segue into asking questions about the writing process because I guess this is more of a writer's podcast. It was you typing away, but also collaborating with Max?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, not just me. I believe Izzie, our production designer / art director as well, had some script supervising and like so script consulting. That's the correct term.
And
What does that
India,
mean? What is
script
that?
consulting?
Yeah.
It's basically script consulting is she'll have a draft and she'll send it out to a few people, and the people will come back and say what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and suggest edits. And writing is such a collaborative, for us
For
at
film,
least,
yeah.
and for film, it's a very collaborative effort. So just getting a couple extra cooks, not too many, but you just need a couple other heads to clash together and a couple other ears to bend to just help refine your piece, because you can get when you're script writing, you can get so caught up in the way that you speak and the way that you think and the way that you think the characters are, but you've got to create so many different characters, and they've got to their dialogue's got to be so different as well.
Well, because it can become directionless when you're just like writing into the abyss, you know, and you have like no feedback, right? And one of the my favorite quotes from like one of our teachers was like, share early and share often. So
yeah,
I found that to be so helpful. I mean, like, yeah, thank God for Max, India, Theo, Izzie. Yeah, actually, what do you think, Max? Was our script quite heavy on the description?
No, and for sure.
Was it?
No, I wouldn't say it's dialogue heavy. Communication is 90% body language as well. So it's very important to get those. And you can't, when you're writing a novel, you can say, Samantha felt a pang of guilt.
Exactly. But you can't.
And that you're
represent
literally
that
writing it out and handing it to the viewer, and they're going to imagine that, or however they imagine, picture it in their mind or whatever. But when you're doing the screenplay, there's so many little subtle things like internal monologue and dialogue that you can't convey just by the nature of the media, that you have to be really descriptive. You have to have actors who can convey that emotion, can convey that split second of a pause or a shudder or something.
Yeah.
Or otherwise the message can be lost.
I was gonna say, like, that's any writing that I've done, like
You write in a script way.
because I've basically, the joke is, before we started this, but before I was on this podcast, I basically didn't read books really. Like, all of my time is spent like watching movies, watching TV shows. I'm like I'm like
It definitely shapes the way you think, I think. If you
yeah,
consume a
and
visual
I think it definitely
medium.
changes the way you think. So when I like first wrote something, I was like there was none like that. Oh, they felt a pang of guilt. There was none of that. It was just like a person doing things.
Yeah. You'll be like, this character's lip quivered.
And then
Instead of saying this
like I
character
would never
felt
say a
guilt.
single emotion or whatever, and they would just be like, "Yeah, this is not fun to read.
Action.
No one likes this."
Yeah.
The script is for the actors and for the crew to get an understanding.
Like instruction.
And instruction. So you need to instruct how it is. You can't necessarily try and like, I don't know what the word is, but you just got to be very direct and very with your script, because that's not you need that to translate on screen.
Yeah.
It's an art form in itself, right? Because it's like how much can you convey an emotion with action, yet
Yeah,
also
definitely.
it not just being like left arm up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Glances
100%.
at man in love. Like it's kind of like they share like
100%.
an ambiguous glance. Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the hands scene.
Which
It's a
one?
really stupid
Yeah.
question, but like, did the lotion brand sponsor the film?
Oh my goodness, no.
Aveeno is so prominently featured.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's like for some reason that shot like just has like the
There was
bottle
one
right
scene
there.
where Izzie
Like-
rubs lotion on an older woman's hands, and then we were just wondering if Aveeno.
We were
sponsored
sponsored by White Bay Beer.
White Bay Beer Company.
that was in the credit scene.
That
Yeah.
was, and that was also the beer that they shared at the park, and the remaining 6-pack or 4-pack, I can't remember,
Yeah.
was taken out of the esky at the family gathering the next day.
Yeah.
She took the beers home from the park.
Those were very subtle.
Yeah,
They
were.
are, yeah.
very subtle.
Well done for massaging that in.
Yeah.
Now I can like now
Kind of
oh.
pissed.
Congrats on getting a corporate sponsor.
Thank you.
Must
We
have
we
been-
had a few. We had also Mezzapica cakes, Minetta Seafood, E-Macaroni,
Oh my god.
IGA La
macaroni.
Monica,
Oh my god! It
Yes.
sounds like the community really pulled through.
and Papa's Pasticceria. Oh, they did.
oh,
Yeah, we were
that's
so
so cool.
lucky. Like that Italian lunch scene was, I'd say, pretty much all decked out from our sponsors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, when you're doing micro budget films, you have to beg, borrow, and steal people's times,
Yeah.
resources, and if they say no, so valid, so valid.
Yeah.
Of course,
Fair
like
enough.
what they're not expecting like a big return. Them the all you can offer them is like, we're going to put you in our film. We have no clue how many people are going to watch it. We don't know if it's going to be successful. We don't even know if it's going to be finished.
Yeah, yeah.
But thank you so much. And when they
That's
do,
so sweet.
you have to be. We are truly grateful.
Eternally. Yeah.
Because that is allowing our small amount of dollars to stretch so much further. And for them, they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. Really are. Maybe they're hoping that it could, feature at Cannes or something like that. And Cannes. Most likely it will feature in Cannes.
Coming to Cairns.
Yeah. Guys, come to our North Queensland.
get
Sunbelt
there.
country.
Come to our Queensland feature premiere in Cairns. But we love our sponsors, and
Yeah.
we loved our contributors, and we also loved our people who donated on the night of the screening.
Yeah.
They're allowing us to make another film quicker.
Yeah.
Ooh. So what was the inspiration behind the moisturizer scene?
The first scene is important because it is a personal story, and it's actually about like my relationship with my nonna and a bit of an intersection between like family and also like care for like an elder family member. Like I know that, we have brilliant men in my family as well as like women, but there is a strong like kind of matriarchal culture to our family. Like, had like, family members like fleeing after World War II and everything like that. So there's a lot of strength there. And that kind of scene was to show, I suppose, like the bridge between Sophia and her mum, like, because there's like a lot of tension between Sophia and her mum, but like Sophia and her nonna, like that is, I think, like one of the real kind of straws of vulnerability that we see in the protagonist. Like she's very edgy and very selfish and very
Guarded.
yes, and very juvenile for like like a 20-something-year-old. Like
Yeah.
You
late
know.
teens, early 20s.
yeah.
Still hates her mum.
Yeah.
That's-
The tension, the difference between Sophia and her mom and Sophia and her nonnas, those two different relationships are definitely like in contrast.
That's the
to each
most
other.
ethnic shit of all time.
Yeah.
Because like
real.
that's like,
Because your grandparents spoil you, but your mom is strict.
yeah, it's just like my just like you can watch that. And you're like,
There was another thing, which was the smoking on screen.
Yeah.
We actually talked about it in your very first episode, Derek. We were talking about how for some reason smoking on screen always looks cool. Like smoking in TV shows.
and it just looks
movies.
so much cool. I think it's like I don't know if it's conditioning through like years of
Of
ads
watching.
in like a Mad Men style, like
Yeah.
indoctrination. But
Lucky
it just
strike.
always looks cool. And we're talking about it, and like it's even cool written, and like part of the reason is like it just gives people a second to like pause, and I think that's like it's just it's the cheapest way to use silence. Like you're just like
That is
oh,
so
by the way,
true.
like
Yeah. It's
You get
when
that
do it with your
sound.
hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I feel like as well, like as a picture of like early 20s, it's like you still have those like bad habits. Do you know what I mean? Like
I'm
things
so
that you're like
cool.
ready to kick. Yeah. Like the whole Sophia is just so flawed. It's like her hair is like not a single strand of her hair is like, you know, like akin to each other. Like she's messy. She smokes.
She had blue hair.
Yeah, like her style
Her
is
hair
just
matches
like
her eye color.
yeah, that's so true. Like she has like no identity. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why each scene is so like wildly different. Like there's no like commonality between what she wears. Like, and I think like smoking is like the only like kind of constant throughout like that whole thing. It's like her only like moment of reflection. And yeah, maybe it is a cheap way for silence or to inspire reflection.
And you've got control over how things are perceived or looked on, or shown on screen, so you can make smoking look cool.
that's
You know, it's not gonna. You're not. You if you want to, you could depict like the unhealthy, close to death person
Like the
shaking and sucking on a dart like over a bin while they wait for a bus or something
that
like
still
that.
looks cool, to be honest.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Derek's a bit of a nihilist, I think.
Yeah.
It would have looked way more uncool without the cigarettes.
Ah.
Thank you, Marlboro Camel Formula.
Get them to sponsor you. They're loaded.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Philip Morris Corporation.
Thank you, King Street,
Yeah,
for
thank
being you.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you for all the advertising men who cheated on their wives in order to bring you this product.
Yeah. Don
Exactly.
Draper, you're a real one.
Thank you, the 9 out of 10 doctors who recommended Camel Slims to pregnant women. in
Oh
the
my
50s.
god! All those like 60s ads of like this
Yeah.
is the cigarette that doctors smoke.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Those are wild.
Yeah,
Great for the
wild.
Constitution.
Just like
Crazy.
breathing directly into like the
A
birth
baby.
canal. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think they did that on F is for Family. The
I love that show.
great. Oh my god, the comedian's name's completely slipped.
Bill
my mind.
Burr?
Bill Burr. Thank you,
Oh,
Bill. I was going
man.
to say Bill Murray. Bill Burr. Really, really well done. And there's that scene where she's getting checked up by a
And it,
male.
like-
yeah, by the gyno who's just a male doctor who has absolutely no understanding of like what women like.
And he's
how-
just the most disgusting guy ever.
yeah. I think that the biggest like art budget in that is just like drawing stains on everything in the cartoons, just like on
It was
people's
so
shirts,
gross
on the
looking.
walls. Yeah. Oh gosh. Well done, show.
But yeah, here's an interesting question. What were some roadblocks that you encountered in the production process that you didn't expect? I bet there were so many.
Would you like me to start?
Absolutely.
One of the I want to say roadblocks, but one of the things that you always take away from a film is that like you never know what a roadblock is going to be. Like you can do 1 million, you can do 0, you can do high production value, high budget, tons of people, well planned, not planned at all, made on the day, and you can never know what is going to stump you, what is going to get the camera operator to run off down the road to pick something up because they need to and no one else can or something. I think one of the roadblocks, I guess for us, was, and I don't want to say like a roadblock is a negative thing. It was just a challenge that we had to overcome. Is that we were doing it on a micro budget, so we what money we did have, we weren't able to pay everyone to do that, and that's what everyone knew that coming in. They all signed up as a volunteer thing, and they were doing this to fill their cup, not their wallet. But things take time, and we can't ask people, because we're not paying them, we can't ask people to, can you do this quicker? Can you do that? You've got to give people the space for them to enjoy it as well. And I think that was something that we had to realize, is we've got to let people's creative process and their time with the paintbrush on the collective canvas that is the film, and we've got to let them do it.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Well,
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what a film is. And if you're not paying people and you're not making those expectations, you can't expect things to be done in a timely manner in the way that you intend it to, because you've got to let people do their part because they're filling their cup with this.
So did you kind of learn to be flexible with deadlines?
We learned to be extremely flexible with deadlines. I think our first deadline was that we're going to get it edited and like color graded and everything within like 1 month. But it's not deadlines with other people. It was also deadlines with ourselves. We were very flexible with ourselves and our capacities because we had real world and, you know, jobs and other commitments and
things
other
change.
projects.
Yeah.
Things change.
And we could have like kind of pressed the pedal on that. But then I think, you know, even something like the first edit that we received back, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But it just looks like a completely different film. I think in terms... I can't even remember any like tangible roadblocks, but there's one that I remember which was quite funny. We left the beer that we were sponsored for at home, and the park scene is like the most important part to showcase the beer. Then Max had to like run up the road. We were in the middle of nowhere in like Lavender Bay.
The sun was setting, and it was the exterior shot.
Just, like,
Yeah.
running
The
out of
sun was
time.
setting, so we've got a certain amount of daylight. You know.
Yeah.
We had to get this. We had to get this shots now. And
So cardio.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of everything, but it was
Running.
me. It
Yeah.
was me because we had a runner on set, but they actually couldn't. They didn't have a license.
Yeah.
And so I was the closest person who was able to make it happen, who wasn't that busy on set because I was executive producing and I was doing all that stuff, but I was second AD on the day. So we had a first AD, and so I was able to just be like, cool, I'm just going to do it. Just got to get it done.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to step in, like even though you're like, you know.
Yeah.
I think the other roadblock we ran into, which was very pertinent for me, was that Anya was going to be our script supervisor. But like Max said, because it's like all these favors with like time and money, it's like the moment that somebody gets like books a gig, like
They got to take it.
of course you've got to take it, like
100%.
you know,
You
and
gotta
that's
get
so
that bag.
understandable.
Yeah,
and
100%.
then we had another brilliant person who was going to step in called Emily Derlin, and
I
then
love her so
same thing
much.
happened. I haven't met her yet, but
Absolutely fantastic. And no, and it's not throwing shade or anything.
No.
like that. It's very much like thank you so much, and we totally understand if you can't, because you know real life again has to come first.
I mean, roadblock, like we couldn't find a protagonist and I had to act. Like that was terrifying. I remember Max and India and Theo kind of looking at me and just being like, on the day you can't chicken out, like you can't. And I was just kind of like, I just have to do this. Like I just have to do this thing. Even with our love interest Luca, played by Angus McCall, I don't think that he hopped on till like a few days before, or like at most a week. Like
I can't remember.
it was just
Well,
like
a week-
to the wire, because our old Luca also got booked for another gig. Like it was just a mess, like, but a beautiful mess. I mean, like it ended up being brilliant.
You learn to be versatile and flexible.
Yes.
Important things to learn.
It's the only one consistency in in going from one to the next
It's
is
inconsistency.
the one consistency is to just be prepared for inconsistency and be prepared to just be flexible and to make do. Because I said this at the screening, the hardest thing about making a film is actually starting and making it, and after that it's not that bad.
Yeah, very true.
It sucks, and day 2 out of a 3-day shoot always hurts the worst, you know, once you're done with the day.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, but the hardest thing is actually just like
I love that. Yeah.
putting the key in the ignition and just like starting it.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's great. Like kind of standing by your idea and say like you're gonna do this, right? And then letting the rest kind of follow through.
We probably had a talk, I'd say September, October, middle September last year. That's when we started thinking about it.
Yeah.
And only last week we screened it.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions?
I don't know. Like I've spent a lot of time complaining that I should have like studied film or. I'm curious as like, what is it that I missed out on, and what is it that I should be thankful that I missed out on?
In
I would
film
love to
school.
know those.
In
are
film
the,
school, yeah.
I think in film school, and it's dependent on the type of person you are and the type of people that you're paired with, but you missed out on like the collaboration and making, you know, lifelong creative friends and potential business partners.
Yeah, I anticipated you would say that.
That is
Like,
so true.
Yeah.
Having creative friends, right?
Yeah.
That's actually so hard to come by. So hard to do if you didn't do
Yeah.
a creative degree.
Yeah, because that feels like the biggest thing. Like, you know, I left uni or whatever, and then I was like, one day when I was like, oh, I'd like to do something creative. Like, it didn't have to be professional or whatever, but like, and I'm like, I don't know anyone who wants to or cares.
Yeah.
And I dragged my roommate into it, and he was like, kind of into it, but like not as like into it as that. And then,
Jeremy. Like that should be our tradition to shout his name 3 times in every episode. That's what I did the last
maybe
episode.
one day he'll
It was
appear.
my favorite moment.
Yeah. Should we turn the lights off?
I've tried. He didn't want to show up.
I think what
Fucking
you
bastard.
what you wouldn't miss is the jaded, like, you know, casual teacher who like rocks up like 2 days a week and they like sit down in front of the camera and they're like, all right, this is how you use it. It's like a half an hour crash course. And then like you're expected to be like proficient in that thing for like the rest of your degree. Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, we did a combination degree, like we did film and communications. It's since been rejigged as well. So
Yeah.
I suppose that was kind of like one element of it. Whereas I imagine studying somewhere like Afters or
NIDA.
yeah,
Do they teach directing? in NIDA, or
yeah,
just
acting?
acting?
Theatre, I
More
think
thea-
more.
more theatre based.
Yeah,
They're doing Afters and NIDA, I think the Masters of Directing, they're doing a collaboration with like the NIDA composers or production designers. I can't remember, but they collab a lot themselves.
also just like the hours that we spent. Don't you think it's a love-hate thing? Like there was this like mezzanine lab and it was open
yeah.
like 24/7, and like it was this
Yeah.
brilliant kind of thing of just like gnawing at this like
The
really
edit suites.
tedious like, you know, like like these programs.
yeah.
And like I'm more of a like vibe person, so like the technical aspect, like don't care, you know, like don't care. And but like there was something fun about it because you're all in it together, like hustling away. But I kind of don't miss those like editing sessions that just went for hours and hours and hours.
No, I think there's a lot of stuff, creative classes and creative work's always very subjective. So there's a lot of stuff that you just don't agree with, that you don't subscribe to, and that you're taught at uni or that you're told to do, and some things like this is just bullshit. Not that it's a bad thing. Some other person might come along and really enjoy that part or that element of it, of the course or whatever. But I found out that like I learned so much about like making stuff and being creative and even technical skills, which you were taught at uni. I learned so much of that just doing that on the job. So what you missed out on, which is a good thing, is the fact that like it has the potential to just do sweet FA for your like personal development and growth.
Yeah.
It just depends on like what type of person you are, how well you resonate with the things that you're taught there, and how willing you are to like take that sort of stuff on board. Like I don't think that if you want to make movies or create stuff, film school or film classes doesn't have to be the way. It's not the way. It's the way for some. It's definitely not the way for others. You encourage your one person, and then the other person you'd completely discourage to do because it's just not right for them.
I learned everything on YouTube when it came to the techie stuff.
Yeah.
But I will say something that was funny because Max and I, we were so lucky. We had our first year all together, and we have some of our lifelong friends just from that first class. Like it was so lucky. And it was quite funny though, because in second year, COVID happened, right? And we were, for some reason, considered essential students. Like, I think, like, nurses, I'm not sure about nurses, but, like, scientists couldn't come in, and they were just like, yeah, you can make little films. Like,
I support that.
Yeah.
You are essential. 100%.
Yeah, how does that work?
idea what Luke was.
Well, with great difficulty, I think we had like you could only have like 4 people in your house or something at some stages during COVID or something like that. So I think by the 3rd year, when it came to our big capstone project, when COVID hit in 2021, 2020 and 2021. When it hit again in 2021, we were going to do our capstone project, and they said, "You want to graduate this year? You got to make the movie on your own. You got to rent the kit, take it from the uni."
Okay, so they at least have equipment.
Yeah, they had really good facilities, and they had
okay.
really great resources as well there. Like the teachers and the tech the tech staff were fantastic. You get away with murder sometimes, and they're just really good. But yeah, some students, if they wanted to graduate at the end of 2021, they had to just go home, make the film, rewrite a script, and just do it.
Because you guys were at uni during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with film and a lot of creative degrees is that the community, the knowing people that are interested in the same thing
100%.
is kind of like the main thing.
It took me ages to find anyone that likes
writing, right?
that liked writing.
Why do you think I'm
them.
creating the podcast, Derek?
Like, this is just an
Doing
excuse
God's
to
work.
meet cool people.
Yeah, meet cool people
Yeah.
like you guys.
Oh, thank you.
Aww.
Thank you so much.
I mean, yeah.
This is a real sappy podcast.
This has been fun. This has been
really fun.
really good. And maybe it's just because you guys just let us talk.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We would rather listen.
Yes.
I think.
That's the
We're very
hallmark-
tired of each other's voice by now, Derek.
the hallmark of good podcasting. But can I ask you said you've been doing this for 6 months now, but like I feel like you could have said you've done this for
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. It's you are very very
thank
well.
you.
You prompted that. You prompted
Yeah.
10 years.
I was
I
gonna-
love shoving compliments on my own face.
Yeah, it's so much better when you get the compliment you expected. So just make it happen. But I was gonna say that anyway.
Oh, thank you so much, Max.
But it's the way that you just, I don't know, the way that you just orchestrated it, you're planning, you're just sort of like subtle yet like confident directing of the room and directing of the conversation. I haven't done any podcasts, but I've listened to a few, and I can say that it's just very high quality standard here, and I'm very impressed.
Wow, thank you so much. You
very
guys have been
welcome.
great guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not every guest has been a great guest.
Oh, really? Have you actually been a good guest?
We're
All right,
leaving that in, right?
Don't say
Oh, 100%.
don't say who, just say what
Of
number.
course I can't say.
Yeah.
Of course I can't say who.
I'm
but
gonna
you
go
guys have
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
I'm
just-
gonna see where she twitches in her eye.
Tell me when to stop.
You guys have been fantastic guests. I've learned so much from you, and best of luck to your future filmmaking career.
The
We'll
fuck
be
are we-
expecting a sequel.
Are we wrapping up?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
We're over time
Sorry.
now,
I was not. I didn't realize that was where the compliment fest was heading. I had no idea. Sorry.
Did you have any other questions?
No, not now.
Wait, Derek, what was your least favorite part of the film? Actually, that's probably not very good for our branding.
No, say it. I want to hear.
Okay.
I think we should just leave it as like a ... and then like cut it.
You have to watch the film to find out, what's Derek's least favorite part.
we'll let you know when we finally got the festivals sorted out
Yeah.
and
That'll be awesome.
where we're going to distribute it after festivals, because most likely, well, we don't know, but if it doesn't go anywhere with festivals, it's going to go on YouTube and everyone can just watch it for free and enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. Just after the run, we'll just
we'll
throw
just-
it up there. I feel like I could have spoken to you guys for 3 hours, but this was awesome.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for this episode of Licensed Poetics. Thank you again for listening. I'm your host, Fang Ling, and we'll see you again in our next episode. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Love ya.